Right, Courtney Rollins, Life and Transitions Experts podcast host, back here last day in my hotel in St. Louis, Missouri. I've had a great time the last 3 days at a training for Mom's House. It is an organization that is committed to helping families, helping seniors transition into living centers or spaces so they can get the care that they need by helping them deal with the real estate and the home and the stuff that's involved there. And it's an awesome, awesome training that helps me expand how I can serve and help folks in the transition space. Uh, One of my, I would say, passions that I have recently discovered is helping families avoid probate. I am the Durham County probate expert, and I don't say that saying that I know everything, but I am committed to understanding and learning, ongoing, learning much as I can about the probate process, the estate process, so that I can help families who are dealing with aspects of it, particularly the real estate, help them navigate that so that they can get the care or have the state settled in a way that's efficient and again help them avoid the process, avoid probate at all, well, not at all costs, but avoid probate because of the cost. So spoiler alert, I just shared one of the reasons, but we'll dig just a little deeper into that. And let's do that actually right now. So I want to talk about three reasons that I think you should avoid probate in North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure this goes across the many different jurisdiction states and all. So probate. Let's back up a little bit. If this is your first time hearing this, listening to this podcast, or maybe you are experiencing probate now and you're trying to understand a little more. Um, Probate's the legal process of selling the estate and affairs of a deceased person who passes away with assets and debts in their name. There has to be specific type assets and debt in their name. And most of these assets and debts have to have a legal way to be transferred or addressed. And there has to be a legal way to distribute any of the inheritance that's dictated by the will, or if there's no will, the state succession laws, if there's inheritance left over. So the first thing is one, probate is costly. It costs a lot of money. The filing fees add up. Just to file in North Carolina, you're going to pay $125 at the beginning. I know $125 not as much, but each stage of the filing process that continues to add up, and that eats away at what the administration fees eat away at any inheritance or just inheritance that may be hopefully there in the estate. Now, if the estate is worth a certain amount, it'll have to go through probate. And one of the challenges is that probate, for instance, filing for inventory, the inventory stage of the probate process is going to cost 0.4% of whatever the total value of the estate is. So, for instance, if someone passes away and their house is owned by them and it's worth $500,000, and uh, there's not married or anything. In other words, it has to go through the probate process. If it's worth $500,000 and there's a mortgage on it for $400,000, so hey, the estate only really has $100,000 in equity. That you're going to be charged the complete 500,000. You're going to be charged as if it was complete $500,000. So that, in other words, they would charge 500,000 times 0.4%, which I'm not. I taught second grade, so my math is off. But let me just put it up right here. What is 5%? I'm doing a little calculator right here. Boom, 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 boom. So 500,000 times 0.004. Oh, so $2,000. So I hope I wasn't saying 5%, 0.4%. So that's just $2,000 right there alone, which will be taken out. And again, if there's the mortgage has to be sold. So then that's 100,000. Then 2,000 minus that is taking away from the inheritance. If you do get an attorney, which I highly recommend you do, they'll charge based well, attorneys have different rates of rates, and they have like a limit of how much they can charge. But it also can be based on, or is based on the totality of how much the estate is worth, not including the debt. So it can be very lengthy, I mean, very expensive, and eat at the inheritance that was supposed to be left behind. So time. Second thing is time. Oh, I must also say, folks, I'm sharing my opinion. This is a layman's opinion from as I was saying earlier, my dedication to understanding the probate world so that I can help more families. But you definitely want to seek legal and financial advice because offering, I'm just sharing my opinions. Number two, it's lengthy because number two, time. It's lengthy. You have to follow certain laws or guidelines to do probate properly. For instance, the notice to creditors, where you'll actually post in a verified and I shouldn't say verified, but in a publication that's approved that the decedent's passed, and anyone who has a claim against the estate needs to step up now. And you have to file that for 4 weeks straight, and then you have to wait 90 days from the first filing to give everyone a chance to come out and say, hey, this is what's owed. Also, if there's any mistakes that's made in the process, let's say, or even just assets are discovered after probate's closed or during the process, you'll have to go back to the stage and sometimes amend things, completely reopen probate sometimes. That can even happen years later. There are probate cases that take place over several years because of just various factors that prolong the process, and that's more stress, that's more cost again, and then the cost of your time is a very important thing. And the last thing to think about, and there's definitely others, but the last thing to think about is the lack of privacy. The probate process is public, and that gives anyone the right or the opportunity to view the file. So if there are certain aspects of the assets or information that you don't want someone to know, or the state doesn't want anyone to know, they don't really have a legal recourse for many of those things if the person's already passed away and is going through probate. In fact, this one of the ways that I actually find people and help people is going to the Durham County Estate Office weekly, searching probate records and finding families to see who I can help. But however, not everyone has that same type of I guess helping mentality. There are some amazing people in this world, in this space, and to be honest, by and large, I've seen a lot of amazing folks out here trying to help folks. But that doesn't mean that people don't target estates and don't target people at their most difficult time and moment. And information can be very powerful if you apply it. And that power can be negative as well. It doesn't have to always be positive. So those are things to consider. Now, folks, there are ways that you can avoid the probate process. Go back and check out the YouTube channel to see some of the notes, or if you're reading this, well, you won't hear this, but if you're reading this, it has a hyperlink that goes directly to some of the articles and videos I've posted on how to avoid probate. Just a quick teaser on it. You may not have to go through probate if the estate is below a certain threshold. In other words, if it's worth below a certain threshold. I think it's 30,000 at this point, at the time of this recording, February 8th, 2023. However, again, always check with your attorney and check with the updated provisions. Also, there are certain assets, if you have beneficiary provisions and succession, survivorship, or provisions that you may have to avoid probate. And depending on how title is held for certain assets, you may be able to avoid probate, such as joint tenancy and things of that nature, as well as having a living trust. Depending on how the property or the real or personal property is held, you may not have to go through the probate process. If you would like any support or help finding someone to help you avoid the probate process, contact us at Estate Pro Service, and we'll set up for a free consultation. I was giggling because it's not that funny, but I've heard someone say that either you have an estate plan set up and ready for you, or the state of North Carolina has an estate plan set up and ready for you. And you're probably going to like your plan a lot more. So whatever state you're in, make sure you do the right thing and help you, your family, and your future generations avoid the probate process so that you can transfer more of that wealth that you generate in income and legacy to the next space. All right, folks, Courtney Rollins about to go and check out this mom's house and learn, absorb, and more, and then get on the plane and see my beautiful woman. All right, folks, rising tides, it lifts all sails.